Shirley MacLaine putting her unique stamp on a Sondheim classic. But then I have my relationships, and they do think so. The legendary Shirley MacLaine, best known for her breakout role in Alfred Hitchcock's The Trouble with Harry, has captivated audiences for decades and secured her place in cinematic history. With a remarkable career spanning over 70 years, she remains one of the few stars to maintain such enduring success on screen. But while her professional life sparkled with accolades and iconic roles, things weren't always as smooth behind the scenes. Shirley has had her share of conflicts with certain co-stars she found difficult to work with. Now, at 91, she's finally opened up, revealing the one co-star she absolutely couldn't stand. In this video, we're taking a closer look at the actor Shirley MacLaine says she hated working with the most. But before we dive into the details of that rocky relationship, let's rewind and explore where it all began. Shirley's early life and rise to fame. Shirley MacLaine's early years. Shirley MacLaine was born Shirley MacLaine Beatty on April 24, 1934, into the Beatty family in Richmond, Virginia. She was named after the famous child actress Shirley Temple, who was only 6 years old at the time, growing up in a family that nurtured her creativity. Shirley developed her talents early on. Her father, Ira Owens Beatty, wore many hats as a psychology professor, real estate agent, and school administrator. Her mother, Kathleen Corrin, named MacLaine, a Canadian-born drama teacher from Wolfville, Nova Scotia, played a significant role in encouraging Shirley's artistic pursuits. Shirley's younger brother, Warren Beatty, later became a well-known actor, writer, and director, changing the spelling of his surname for professional reasons. The siblings were raised in the Baptist faith. Throughout her childhood, Shirley's family moved frequently, shifting from Richmond to Norfolk, then Arlington, Waverly, and back to Arlington. By 1945, her father was working at Thomas Jefferson Junior High School in Arlington, where the family eventually settled in the Dominion Hills neighborhood during the 1950s. Shirley's early life was unique in many ways. As a young girl, she struggled with weak ankles, which made her prone to tripping. To help strengthen them, her mother enrolled her in ballet classes at the Washington School of Ballet when she was just 3 years old. What began as a remedy for a physical weakness would become the foundation for Shirley's extraordinary journey. Despite the challenges, her determination transformed her from a fragile child into a Hollywood star. Her passion for performing blossomed at the ballet school, where she was a dedicated student who rarely missed a class, even as she developed interests in acting and singing. Shirley's tomboyish spirit was evident early on. Renowned director Don Siegel once described her as hard to feel warmth toward, calling her unfeminine and very, very hard. To channel her energy, Shirley excelled in baseball, earning the nickname Powerhouse. She often played male roles in school productions like Romeo and Juliet and Sleeping Beauty because of her height and the lack of boys in her class. A pivotal moment came during rehearsals for Cinderella when she injured her ankle but chose to perform before seeking treatment. This injury convinced Shirley to leave ballet behind and pursue acting instead, realizing she was too tall, and her ankles were too weak for a ballet career. She then attended Washington Lee High School in Arlington, where she was active in the drama club and cheerleading squad. How did Shirley MacLaine rise to stardom, and who was the co-star she found the most difficult to work with? Keep watching to find out. Shirley MacLaine's journey to acting. The multiple award-winning actress Shirley MacLaine often created and took on opportunities that led her to stardom. In one of her memoirs, she wrote, "I was learning that life does not just happen to us." After entering Washington Lee High School, Shirley went to Broadway, New York City during the summer holidays to try her luck with acting. After graduation, she joined Broadway productions as part of the dancing crew in the film Me and Juliet. During her audition, the producer kept mispronouncing her name, so she changed it from MacLaine to MacLaine. Soon after, she learned acting from Carol Haney while filming The Pajama Game. The stars were in Shirley's favor when Carol experienced what appeared to be an unfortunate situation on set, but turned out to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Shirley. Carol Haney had just torn a ligament and was unable to perform. This was a few months after the Pajama Game film had begun shooting. Carol Haney had a tough time recovering over the following few months, making it difficult for her to show up to play her role in the film. That was when producer Hal B. Wallace noticed Shirley's talent and offered her Carol's role, leading to her first 5-year contract with Paramount Pictures. Shirley's big break came with her role in The Pajama Game, which encouraged Alfred Hitchcock to cast her in The Trouble with Harry, her debut film in 1955, starring in the movie at age 19, earned her a Golden Globe Award for New Star of the Year actress. After her debut film, The Trouble with Harry, MacLaine began to appear in films that would eventually serve as stepping stones on her journey to fame. From there on, every film MacLaine took a part in was a box office success. In 1955, she appeared in Artists and Models, a film by Martin and Lewis. Then in 1956, she played the female lead role, Aouda, in the epic adventure comedy film Around the World in 80 Days, which received the Academy Award for Best Picture. In 1958, she appeared in 3 films, Hot Spell, The Sheep Man, and The Matchmaker. Shirley MacLaine's career continued to soar throughout the 1960s and beyond as she expanded her range and took on more challenging roles. She became known for her ability to effortlessly shift between comedy and drama, capturing audiences with her magnetic screen presence and versatility. Films such as The Apartment, 1960, which earned her an Academy Award nomination, solidified her status as one of Hollywood's most talented and sought-after actresses. Throughout her career, MacLaine consistently pushed boundaries and defied expectations, often choosing roles that explored complex, sometimes controversial themes. Aside from her cinematic achievements, Shirley also gained recognition for her outspoken personality and spiritual journey, which she openly shared in her memoirs and interviews. This authentic self-expression endeared her to many fans who admired her courage both on and off the screen. Despite the glamour and accolades, Shirley never shied away from discussing the challenges she faced, including difficult co-stars and the pressures of Hollywood life. Her resilience and dedication have inspired generations of performers. Even after decades in the industry, MacLaine remained committed to her craft, taking on roles in television, theater, and film that showcased her evolving talents. Her legacy is one of pioneering spirit and unwavering passion for storytelling, qualities that have made Shirley MacLaine a true legend in the world of entertainment. Rise to fame. Shirley's path to fame was exciting, daring, and fast. In 1958, she starred in numerous films before entering Ocean's 11 with The Rat Pack, which featured Frank Sinatra. After working with the Rat Pack, Shirley was invited to be an exclusive member of the group of 5 informal entertainers. The Rat Pack became infected with the free-spirited and outgoing actress energy. Her rise to fame came with her performance in the 1960 romantic film The Apartment, featuring Jack Lemmon, who played the role of an insurance clerk, and Fred MacMurray, who played the role of Baxter. The film received multiple Academy Award nominations, including Best Director, Best Art Direction, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Film Editing, among others, making it one of the best-released films in the 60s. Although Shirley was close to snagging the award, she lost out to Elizabeth Taylor. The Apartment film received numerous accolades. Charlize Theron, a well-known film critic, commended MacLaine for bringing the black and white film to life, describing it as raw, real, and funny. Shirley's success with the romance-themed film inspired her to star in other films and collaborate with other great actors over the years. Following her achievements, Shirley went on to enjoy greater accomplishment in films like Irma la Douce, 1963, and The Children's Hour, 1961. Despite her successful beginnings, She was without awards or nominations for 14 years. This caused her to question her career. She continued performing throughout this time with little success, but as a result of a lawsuit, Shirley lost a $750,000 job for the film musical Bloomer Girl. In 1969, her movie Sweet Charity, directed by Bob Fosse, became a financial disaster despite winning her a Golden Globe nomination. This movie was where she got her theme song, If My Friends Could See Me Now. Ever since then, this song has been the theme music played at any interview Shirley participated in. Shirley took a break and came back stronger in 1977, earning her fourth Best Actress Oscar nomination for The Turning Point. In her over 60 years of acting career, Shirley has won 1 Oscar, received 70 nominations, and 50 wins. Career decline and abrupt break. There's no doubt that Shirley has been an incredible actress throughout her career, but was she facing challenges? After nearly 2 decades of remarkable performances, some began to wonder if the film icon was losing her spark, especially following the financial disappointment of Sweet Charity. In response, Shirley took a step back from acting for a few years to focus on writing and other interests, signaling a shift after what seemed like a slowdown in her career. In 1970, she published her first memoir, Don't Fall Off the Mountain, where she recounted her tense encounter with Hollywood columnist Mike Connolly. Notably, on June 11, 1963, Shirley made the cover of the New York Post after a heated confrontation in Connolly's office, where she punched him in the mouth over a column he wrote about her ongoing legal battle with producer Hal B. Wallace, whom she sued for breach of contract. From 1970 to 1976, Shirley's career experienced a dip. She moved into television, starring as a photojournalist in the sitcom Shirley's World, co-produced by ITC and Sheldon Leonard, and filmed in the UK. In 1972, she paused her acting to actively campaign for George McGovern's presidential run. The following year, although invited by friend William Blatty to join The Exorcist, director William Friedkin declined her because she had recently appeared in another supernatural film, The Possession of Joel Delaney. In 1975, Shirley co-directed the documentary The Other Half of the Sky, a China memoir with Claudia Weil, which earned an Oscar nomination. The film highlighted the lives of women in China. Combining her father's intellect, her mother's creativity, and her own curiosity about philosophy and drama, Shirley continued to explore life's deeper meanings. As a professional singer, she returned to the stage in 1976, performing at the London Palladium and the New York Palace Theatre, marking a notable comeback. The iconic comeback of Shirley MacLaine. John Bon Jovi's quote, "Success is falling 9 times, and getting up 10 is something that clearly resonates with Shirley through her iconic comeback. The phenomenal actress redefined and reshaped the culture of women's participation in the film industry. She overcame several challenges just to make an impressive comeback, earning her 4th Oscar nomination. In the 1977 film The Turning Point, co-starring with Anne Bancroft, Shirley played a retired ballerina. This role marked the beginning of a new career phase that would last 5 decades, one that would adapt to the changing demands of the entertainment industry. After receiving her 4th nomination for Best Actress at the Oscars in 1978, Shirley won the Women in Film Crystal Award for her excellence and dedication, which honored her contributions to increasing the number of women in the entertainment industry. Shirley co-starred alongside Peter Sellers in the award-winning film Being There, which received both a British Academy Film Award and a Golden Globe nomination. She also starred in a film with Anthony Hopkins and Bo Derek in 1980, which received criticism but showed her audience appeal. It was tagged boring and unnecessary, criticized for its screenplay and lack of humor and suspense, which are essential for great films. Despite these shortcomings, Shirley MacLaine managed to captivate her audience and received a positive review from movie critics. Vincent Canby, a film critic for the New York Times, wrote that, although the film lacked a sense of humor and the screenplay was ridiculous, The only appealing performance was that of Miss MacLaine. Shirley has once again proven her abilities in the world of acting. It remains her guiding star. Shirley later featured in the 1983 film Terms of Endearment, alongside Deborah Winger, Jack Nicholson, John Lithgow, and Jeff Daniels. This film was an iconic moment, earning her the Best Actress Oscar after 25 years of nominations. Aside from that, the film was classified as the second highest-grossing film of 1983 after grossing over $108.4 million in domestic box office. Shirley continued her successful career, starring in films like Steel Magnolias, 1989, which also featured the likes of Dolly Parton, Sally Field, and Julia Roberts. It became a box office hit and earned her a British Academy Film Award. In 1990, she starred in Host Cards from the Edge, earning another Golden Globe nomination. Shirley is a highly talented and versatile actress, known for taking on challenging roles. She played a strong-willed, compulsive mother in Terms of Endearment, earning her an Oscar and a First Lady role in Guarding Tests in 1994. Despite starting her acting career in the 1950s, Shirley has continuously reinvented herself, remaining relevant into the 21st century. In 2000, she directed her first feature film, Bruno, also known as The Dress Code, which was a story about a young boy struggling to express himself. From 2000 to now, Shirley has starred in many movies and TV series, including Coco before Chanel, earning her a Primetime Emmy Award and another Golden Globe nomination. It's safe to say Shirley has been going on and on since the 1950s, consistently delivering outstanding performances and earning multiple awards. Relationships and marriage. Shirley, the strong-willed and eccentric personality who spent most of her life on set and behind cameras, is also human. Though she had a tomboyish attitude, she also wanted to feel loved. However, Shirley didn't understand marriage and family building as well as she did acting. The superstar met several men during film shoots and off-screen, but none fascinated her. Instead of loving these men, she used them to test her unusual theories about love. To say she was an oddball when she was younger is an understatement. Before settling with the so-called father of her daughter, Steve Parker, Shirley had several affairs with prominent men, including Australian politician Andrew Peacock, Lord Mountbatten in the early 1960s, and Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme. She sure did have a lot of men. In one of her memoirs, Shirley described Steve's charm and attractiveness. She had high standards and was a beautiful young woman with long legs that mesmerized men. Shirley wrote, "He was handsome, almost overly charming, intelligent, and had azure eyes of a depth and perception that touched me immediately. But more than that, our connection had the shock of destiny attached to it." Shirley eventually married Steve Parker in 1954. However, their open marriage was short-lived and filled with so many controversies. They later divorced in 1982. Before their divorce, Shirley and Steve had a daughter, Sachi, who was born in 1956. Sachi later discovered that her biological father wasn't Steve Parker, but an astronaut named Paul. Sachi began living with Steve in Japan from the age of 2 and later helped her mother break free from Steve's demanding and abusive behavior. Steve, who assumed the identity of Paul, blackmailed Shirley into paying him a huge monthly allowance for imaginary space travel. He exploited her until their divorce in 1982. In 2001, rumors of Parker's death circulated through the media. Shirley saw Sachi's write-up about his death and called her, saying Steve wasn't dead, but in the valley, buying coffee. On February 7, 2013, Penguin Group USA published Sachi Parker's autobiography, Lucky Me, My Life with Arpre and Without, My Mom, Shirley MacLaine. MacLaine described the book as virtually all fiction. During the time Shirley was still married to Steve Parker, her relationship with Robert Mitchum stood out. Shirley MacLaine described Robert Mitchum in her 2011 book, I Am Over All That, saying, "Life happened to him. I happened to him. He rarely made anything happen." MacLaine first met Mitchum, Hollywood's typical bad boy, on the set of Two for the Seesaw in 1962. In My Lucky Stars, she describes him as a complex mystery, multifaceted, ironically humorous, shy to the point of detachment, and unable to express his wants. She saw him as a perfect project. Despite both being married, MacLaine and Mitchum had a passionate 3-year affair. Mitchum, who is over 2 decades older than MacLaine, found her face treacherously beautiful, comparing her to some enchanted goblins. MacLaine was captivated by the poetic, troubled, and primal Mitchum, who spoke in riddles and lived in the moment. They were both wanderers, so they traveled widely together, visiting places like Africa, Paris, New York, London, and New Orleans. In April 2011, while promoting her new book, I Am Over All That, Shirley MacLaine revealed to Oprah Winfrey that she had an open relationship with her husband. MacLaine also mentioned that she often fell for the leading men she worked with, except for Jack Lemmon in The Apartment, and Irma LaDouze, and Jack Nicholson in Terms of Endearment. Shirley's life has revolved around film and television. However, most people have wondered what Shirley is like off the screen. Keep watching to find out. Life Beyond the Screen. In her memoir, Don't Fall Off the Mountain, she wrote, "I cared more about the life beyond the camera than the life in front of it." Shirley enjoys life outside of acting, being a prolific writer interested in metaphysics, spirituality, and reincarnation. She is also a singer. Shirley has written over 14 memoirs about her Hollywood career, marriage, and her most recent memoir, Out on a Leash, which was written during the COVID lockdown. Her books encourage readers to reflect deeply. Shirley enjoys walking. In 1994, she began a 500-mile solo pilgrimage on the Santiago de Compostela Camino. Despite the pain and memories, it stirred. She enjoyed the journey until the media spotted her and intruded with cameras, which she strongly opposed, even throwing stones at a crew member. Shirley is also an activist who uses her influence for political activism. Shirley MacLaine and her brother Warren Beatty played key roles as fundraisers and organizers for George McGovern's 1972 presidential campaign. She wrote the book McGovern, The Man and His Beliefs that year, and appeared at her brother's concerts, For McGovern and Together for McGovern. MacLaine also collaborated with Sid Bernstein to produce the woman-focused Star-Spangled Women from a Govern Shriver variety show at Madison Square Garden. Her dedication to the campaign was so extensive that her talent agent threatened to fire her as she turned down film projects and spent $250,000 of her own money on political activism. Shirley MacLaine as a prolific writer. Shirley MacLaine has built a reputation as a brave, unconventional thinker who is always looking for a better understanding of her place in the universe. Her writings, which are characterized by her typical humor and honesty, dive into what has always piqued her interest, the unseen mysteries of life. She explores serious questions about awareness, the meaning and purpose of life, maintaining a connection with the divine, extraterrestrial life, and the afterlife. As a best-selling author and award-winning actress, MacLaine invites readers to join her on the provocative and powerful journeys of her life. Embracing being out on a limb with her inquiries, she has toured the world in her search for answers. She has walked the Camino de Santiago in meditative solitude, led the first all-female documentary crew into China, and lived with the Maasai in Africa. Spirituality and reincarnation beliefs. Shirley MacLaine once claimed that in a previous life in Atlantis, she was the brother of a 35,000-year-old spirit named Ramtha, channeled by mystic teacher and author J.Z. Knight. She has a strong interest in spirituality and metaphysics, which are central themes in some of her best-selling books, such as Out on a Limb and Dancing in the Light. Her spiritual path includes walking the way of Saint, James working with Chris Griscom, and practicing transcendental meditation. New Age spirituality has also inspired several of Shirley MacLaine's films. In Albert Brooks's romantic comedy, Defending Your Life, 1991, the recently deceased lead characters, played by Brooks and Meryl Streep, are surprised to find MacLaine introducing their past lives in the Past Lives Pavilion. In Postcards from the Edge, 1990, MacLaine sings a version of I'm Still Here, with customized lyrics by composer Stephen Sondheim, including the line, I'm feeling transcendental. Am I here? In the 2001 television film These Old Broads, MacLaine's character is a devotee of New Age spirituality. MacLaine is also interested in UFOs and has given numerous interviews on CNN, NBC, and Fox News channels on the subject during 2007 to 2008. In her book, Saging While Aging, she described having alien encounters and witnessing a UFO incident in Washington, D.C. in the 1950s. On an episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show in April 2011, MacLaine stated that she and her neighbor had observed numerous UFOs at her New Mexico ranch for extended periods. Could she be telling the truth? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. In 2015, MacLaine faced criticism for her controversial comments about Jews, Christians, and Stephen Hawking. She suggested that Holocaust victims were experiencing the results of their own karma, and implied that Hawking had subconsciously caused himself to develop ALS, to focus more on his work in physics. Controversies faced regarding her beliefs. Shirley MacLaine, like most actors and actresses, has appeared on talk shows to promote her films and discuss her personal life and career. Occasionally, questions get personal and can make actresses uncomfortable. This was the case when she appeared on The Late Show with Dave Letterman in October 1988 to discuss her film Madame Susatska. However, Dave Letterman was more interested in discussing MacLaine's belief in reincarnation, which he found amusing and used to make fun of her. He asked if she believed he had lived other lives. Annoyed by the question, she joked that he had bad karma. Letterman then joked about her supposed past lives, suggesting she had been a monk and a harem dancer. MacLaine tried to explain seriously that her belief came from spending time in Asia, where reincarnation is a common belief. Yet Letterman continued to mock her views. During the commercial break, she told him she didn't want to discuss reincarnation anymore in the second half of the interview. However, he persisted, forcing her to burst out quoting Cher, who had a bad experience on the show. MacLaine said, "Maybe Cher was right. Maybe you are," and left the rest to the audience's imagination. This caused an awkward moment, and Letterman asked if she was genuinely upset or just acting. She replied that he should be able to tell. Shortly afterward, Letterman ended the interview and MacLaine left, not returning after the commercial break. She recalls how awful he was, and they had a hard time getting over the incident. It's definitely obvious that she must have hated Dave Letterman. However, she wasn't his co-star. She was just his guest. Now, let's get to see which co-star she hated the most. The co-star Shirley hated most. It's quite ironic that the film that led to Shirley MacLaine's stardom also brought her the co-star she hated most. For many actors, Shirley MacLaine was either a challenging co-star or a joy to work with, depending on their attitude and relationship with her on set. Some may believe Shirley's most hated co-star was the award-winning director Don Siegel, but that is far from the case. Shirley never hated Don Siegel, even when they faced numerous challenges while shooting the classic Two Mules for Sister Sarah together. Don was fond of picking on Shirley for her manly attitude and lack of feminine appeal. However, this didn't faze Shirley, who later stated that she adored Don Siegel and admired his tough demeanor both online and in real life. So if not Don Siegel, who described her as a man, who else could be the co-star Shirley hated? The next person that comes to mind is the actor known for his fondness for alcohol, Sir Anthony Hopkins. Shirley played the role of Deborah Winger's mother in the multi-award-winning film Terms of Endearment. However, even before her conflict with Deborah, Shirley had worked with several actors who didn't like her, and Anthony Hopkins was one of them. Anthony and Shirley never got along on set, especially after he called her obnoxious. Shirley was curious about what led to Anthony's conclusion. Upon hearing his disrespectful statement, Shirley responded that she didn't like Anthony Hopkins either, and had a terrible time working with him in the film A Change of Seasons. Both Shirley and Anthony are known for their strong personalities and are hard to deal with. Shirley has strong moral, ethical, and professional standards and never hesitates to speak her mind. On the other hand, Sir Hopkins had issues with alcohol, and Shirley often blamed his behavior on his drinking habit. All of Shirley and Sir Anthony's problems began while shooting the film A Change of Seasons, which ended up winning a Razzie Award for the worst film of the year. Despite their differences, both actors continued to showcase their talent in other movies after this failed project. However, Shirley's list of disliked co-stars didn't stop with Anthony Hopkins. Deborah Winger's name also made it onto Shirley's hate list. Now here comes the plot twist. For the longest time, Shirley had dreamed of working with the talented Deborah Winger. Both actresses admired each other's work and were excited to finally be sharing the screen. One might think their collaboration would be smooth, but it wasn't anything of the sort. It seemed like Deborah Winger had some hidden issues with Shirley. Although their performances together were highly praised, surpassing the disaster of A Change of Seasons, their off-screen relationship was strained. Both actresses received nominations for their roles, with Shirley winning and praising Deborah as an actress with turbulent brilliance. Their relationship, however, was superficial. Rumors circulated about arguments and even fistfights, which they both denied. In one of Shirley's memoirs, she recounted a shocking incident where Deborah allegedly pulled Shirley's skirt and farted in her face during a fight. When asked about it, Deborah was unable to defend herself convincingly. After multiple embarrassing incidents, Shirley named Deborah Winger the co-star she hated the most and vowed never to work with her again. And to think that the feud between the two co-stars might have died down, well, that seems impossible, as their feud still makes headlines even after 35 years. So, what do you think of Shirley MacLaine's relationships with her co-stars? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Tap on the link that pops up on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories.